What qualities do you have to fulfill the role as an executive member?
I personally believe that with secretary, it's one of the unique responsibilities where it's not based off of seniority. So something like EVP, which relies on alliance presence, or even president, which requires you to have at least 1 year on board. Secretary is about connecting and being the catalyst to other people. And in that regard, I think me and my opponent are fairly matched with 1 year of, as intern.
Thank you so much for that. And so for your next question, we ask, as your position mainly deals with the general membership infusion, which one will you prioritize more? Member retention or expanding as an organization?
I believe that those are kind of one and the same question. So I believe that, like I said, general members are kind of the future of fusion. So by expanding, not only focusing on general members, that also expands the club as a whole. So branching out to other clubs, ASME or AICI, would not only boost general members by bringing more people in, but also expanding fusion as a whole.
For your next question, we ask, your club is planning a major event, but halfway through preparation, half the board becomes unresponsive and deadlines are at risk. What would you do to get things back on track without creating conflict?
I believe that it's all about communication. Yes, it's the cheesy answer, but I think that there's always an underlying reason for a deadline's being not met, right? So I would reach out to people because they all have a reason. And whether that can be something I can help with or something I can communicate to the whole team, that would help deliver things on time. Because I believe that it just takes one conversation to really know what someone's going through.
As previously mentioned, you mentioned something about collaborating with other orgs. As this is not a standard responsibility of Secretary, what do you see your role in these collaborations?
Well, I do believe that this isn't the role specifically designed for Secretary. I believe in connecting with EVP. And in doing so, like I said, I personally want to take on general members as a responsibility of Secretary. So I believe that they're kind of one and the same. If my initiative is to bring on more general members, then that works tandem with the EVP responsibilities of reaching out. And I've already begun reaching out and seeing if other clubs would be interested.
For your next question, we ask, you talk a bit about what Secretary is as a role, but we'd like to hear more about your personal expectations of yourself in that role. Like what new programs or policies you would like to implement, and how would you maintain Secretary's duties alongside that?
I believe that Secretary's responsibilities are very easy to kind of consolidate and do in personal time, right? So pushing out the WAG or sending out emails, they're not something that require actual presence in the room. And in doing so, I feel like I can prioritize these other these other programs that I want to push out. I believe that I can balance both the responsibilities of formal secretary and the informal power that it grants.
Did you talk about what new programs or policies that you'd like to implement?
I think that it's mainly just the collaborated meetings, and I believe that that kind of takes some of the edge off of what people assume secretary to be doing. So as opposed to doing this whole undertaking, I believe in not only investing in the current board, right? So I talked about being able to be there and be present, as opposed to directly taking off and doing my own initiative. So the whole idea of collaborating meetings and also really emphasizing and reminding people to connect with general members would kind of be my program in a sense. I believe that that kind of allows me to balance both responsibilities.
Thank you so much for that. So for this next question we ask, do you have any ideas or any new programs that you'd like to introduce specifically under PEDIA, Publicity and Media? How will you specifically support them and what they do for the club?
I believe that it kind of comes down to what PEDIA wants. I've talked with current board members, I don't know if I want to say, but they've expressed that secretary could have been improved in improving the flow right before the start of the school. So I guess my only initiative with PEDIA is establishing that flow before the start of the year so things run smoothly. Because I know that that was kind of a point of contention for this year. And again, in terms of PEDIA or any other organization or any other board position, I feel like I want them to come to me or even me reaching out in order to help support whatever goals they want.
your next question, we ask, it sounds like you have a lot of EVP ideas and reaching out to other orgs. As secretary, how do you plan to make sure you don't overstep into the EVP territory?
I'm sure that the next EVP will definitely let me know if I'm overstepping. But besides that, I personally believe that as opposed to going out to different meetings and different organizations, it's much more sending emails, right? As opposed to going to Alianza events and having that face and presence, I believe it's much more administrative in terms of tackling other organizations. That's not something that requires me to be a face, more so than a branch to connect with other organizations. That's how I'll prevent myself from overstepping into the EVP position.
Your next question, we ask, can you please critique the current position holder?
Definitely better word choice at meetings. No more bar crawls. But other than that, I kind of briefly brushed up on it. I don't believe that there's anything that the current secretary could have done differently. Just something that could have been improved in Fusion as a whole, which I talked about, which is improving the flow of PDA and secretary, that relationship going into the year. And I do believe that that's really something on the present secretary, much more it is as improving flow for future generations to kind of improve upon.
So for your next question, based on your experiences, if you could cook one big meal for Fusion, what would it be and why?
Well, it depends, whatever Arvin wants to cook, because I'm always down for a good cook-off.
And that formally concludes Kai's individual Q&A. Can we get one round of applause?